Welcome everyone to this CELPIP Speaking Part 5, Comparing and Persuading Analysis. Now, I'm just here in the Speaking Part 5 section of the CELPIP library. And before we get started, I do want to remind you that Speaking Part 5 has more focus on CLB 4 to 6. What does that mean? Well, that means that if you need to get CLB 4, 5, or 6, then you need to do better in this part, or you will have a chance to speak more and speak better in this part than in other parts, okay? That's because speaking part 5 has a more familiar situation or more common situations and easier questions to understand than part 1, part 6, or part 7, okay? So that's why you will have more opportunities to speak and you need to show that you can speak for this part, okay? Now, if you need to get CLB 7 or higher, this part will be easier for you and you can't really show your higher level English knowledge as much as in part 7, okay? And you should speak well for this part because it will be easier, okay? All right, so now also I want to remind you that we have this great Speaking Part 5 Tips and Strategies video, okay? That video will give you more details about how you can answer Part 5 better. Some tips that you can use, some strategies that you can use to answer the question, and some of the tips and strategies which I will use to answer this question, okay? And also, I will be speaking some of those tips and strategies in this example. But if you want to watch that video, it's a great video, and I will leave a link in the description box to that video. Okay? And let's look at today's volume sample. We're looking at volume 6, Lockers for Employees. Okay. So everyone, you see we have a CLB 5-6 sample and a CLB 7-9 sample. Okay, so you choose the level which is appropriate for you. Then we have in each section the video analysis which you're watching, and we have vocabulary building, both with vocabulary building. Vocabulary building is excellent to improve your vocabulary. We have some words with basic meanings, synonyms, and antonyms. And then this great exercise where you complete the sentence with one word from the list. Okay, great exercise to improve your vocabulary. And then we have grammar building. Grammar building, everyone. For part 5, we need to know our comparatives. How can we compare better? What do we do for adjectives? Okay. And a great practice exercise to improve our comparative language. Okay. So everyone, now some important tips and strategies for part 5. Firstly, everyone, in part 5, we are comparing and persuading. So we should try to use comparative language. Yes, comparative language, using more, less, greater, better. Okay? For example, part 5 is easier than part 7. Okay? Or you can say part 7 is more difficult than part 5. Okay? So it's very important to use comparative language when we are comparing the two options. Secondly, let's remember everyone to try to organize your answer. The more organized that you are, the better. Okay? Higher levels organize their answer more. Okay, we should try to avoid repetition, meaning do not repeat yourself. Let's try to follow a sequence or organize. And of course, try to speak for 1 minute. Okay? In our samples, we will be following a method or a pattern to answer our response. We are going to be introducing the question. It's very good to introduce the question. Okay, to be clear about the question. And then we're going to be using some of these connectors. Firstly, I'd say that my choice. Secondly, and last but not least, we're going to be using this kind of sequence to connect our ideas. Okay? Everyone, I do want to remind you that part 5 has 3 parts. First, you choose your option. For example, here's the question. You have 1 minute. You choose this option or this option. Whichever option. Okay. If you choose this option and then you go to the next part, that will be your choice, you see? And then the computer gives you another choice. Or you can choose the second option here, and that will be your choice right over here. And then the computer will give you the same option. Okay? So then, and you will have another minute to prepare. So the only thing that could be a good tip is for you to just choose the one which you understand more. Maybe you understand this information more, or maybe you understand this information more. It would be better to choose the one you know more. Okay? Let's get started. Hey, and this will be a CLB 7 to 9 example. Okay? So, here we are. Part 5, comparing and persuading. Preparation time a minute, speaking time 1 minute. Okay. So, again, in our examples, we already made the choice. Here's your choice, and here's your coworker's choice. Okay? Okay, so we already made our choice. So your company, let's just read the question again. Your company has decided to provide better lockers for employees. A coworker wants the compact locker, but you think the full-length locker is better. Persuade him to choose yours. Okay. So we want to tell our friend to choose our locker. All right. So here we have our choice. Full-length locker, number lock provided, 1.5 meters by 25 centimeters, 1 locker per column, 3 hooks on each side, full-length mirror, $15 per month. Okay. Sounds good. Now what about the compact locker? Bring your own lock, 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters, 2 lockers per column, multi-organizer and adjustable. Small mirror, $10 per month. Okay, so let's remember that for levels 7 to 9, what we need to do is we need to make sure that we answer the question clearly and directly by comparing, of course. Then ideas. Okay, so like I said before, this question shouldn't be difficult for levels 7 to 9. Should be easy to answer. So that's the easy part. The hard part, which is the part that maybe level 9s struggle with, they know how to express the easy parts. It's very easy to say the full-length locker is better because it's longer, for example. But it's about explaining and vocabulary and ideas. That's the hard part. It's not the question, okay? It's just about trying to think of stronger ideas and ways to express them. And that's what we're going to try and do here, okay? Maybe we can try and use stronger grammar, although it's harder for this question because it's just simple grammar that we can use. But let's see what we can do. And also, we need to have a higher rate of fluency and clarity, which means our answer needs to be longer and we need to say it in a minute. Okay, so let's see. Let's start by introducing the question, okay? If I had to persuade my coworker that the full-length locker could be better than the compact locker, I'd make some convincing points. Okay, so right away from the beginning, this sentence structure is already strong. Now we're using this sentence structure indirect. I'm using this one to give you an idea of how we can start strong. Now it says here your coworker. It doesn't say speak to one coworker directly. So this is kind of like we're creating the situation. We're saying if I had to do this. So this sentence structure, I feel it's strong to start. But you could say, hello, Justin. I want to convince you I want to tell you why the full-length locker is better. We can say direct. I just find that indirect works better for higher levels, okay? But it is just the beginning, okay? It's not the most important part, which is now the first idea. Let's see what we do here. Firstly, I think this locker could be more convenient because it's longer and has hooks. So this will make it easier for you to keep all your clothes, lunch, and other belongings. Okay, so very good already. Very good. We're using modals. Could be. We're using comparatives, more convenient. Okay, and we're saying why that's better. Now, that's good. We're nothing really so strong here. Now, I do see we have more explanation here. While in the compact locker, all your things could be cramped. Very good. So this is something that higher levels do to express ideas more strongly. They say why theirs is good, and then they compare it to the other one. They said, but here, while this locker could be more cramped, or could be cramped. And that's a really good, strong expression. Okay? So I do think it's stronger. We're using stronger words, cramped, that word. I think cramped could even be difficult for level 7s to 8 to think about. Okay, the other ones maybe not so much. There's more we can say, but again, we need to move on. It's better to give more comparisons than just to stick to one. This is another thing that's important. Sticking to only one idea is not so good. It's not recommended. We need to try to give more ideas when we have this question. So what's our second comparison? Secondly, I think this locker is more modern because it has a number lock, and this will make it easier for you to easily access the locker. Okay. Easier to easily. Okay. So access, that's the strong part here. The part that's strong here is accessing the locker. I guess more modern. I'm not sure about the number lock, but it says here number lock, but could that be a modern one? It's not clear. Anyways, the important part that we're bringing out the access, okay? So very good. Right. Notice how here we only have is. I would like to say maybe or might be. I always preferred to use the modals there. I didn't use it here, but there's an example. Higher levels use that kind of language, might be, instead of just is, okay? All right. And even here, maybe instead of will, we can say would, and this would make it easier, right? You see how even here, I'm trying to change it to make it stronger language, which is important. Okay, but anyways, we still have the other part here, and we're using whereas. Very good comparison. Whereas with the compact locker, you'd have to get your own lock, and it could be more expensive to get a good lock. Good point. Locks aren't cheap these days. Nothing's cheap, right? So to get a really good lock, you'd probably want to get something more secure. And that's what it's saying here. And it could be more expensive to get a good lock, or you can maybe instead of to get a good lock, we can get a more secure lock. You see how I'm changing these ideas here? I'm changing them not because the other ideas are not good, just because I want stronger ideas. So that's something that we need to do. You see how I just thought about that there? Because I need to try to express ideas in the strongest format if I want to get 9 or higher. Okay, so this is a really good idea. Both ideas are good. Now, what makes it the best is that we're comparing one side, we're saying why ours is good, and then we're saying why the other one's not good. So very good structure and form. Now, I would say this is already for sure 7 to 8, what we have already. And even 7 to 8s, you don't have to use this level of expression and vocabulary. 7 to 8s just need to speak a complete answer. Okay, so it's already stronger for 7 to 8, okay? But we want to try to get to the 9. And getting to the 9 requires more ideas, more or stronger language, okay? So let's see what we have for a third idea. Okay, let's see here. Last but not least, I think this locker could be more suitable because it has a longer mirror. So this would make it easier for you to always look presentable, whether it be at your workplace or when you're heading home. I think that's the strongest idea. Yes, very strong idea there. Now, why is it strong? Well, first of all, about more suitable. Why is it more suitable? Because it's a longer mirror. And it says this is more suitable because you always look presentable. Very strong idea. You want to look presentable at work, okay? And whether it be at your workplace, that's a good whether or very good use of language. Okay. So, very good idea here. All these three ideas are good, but what makes this 9 or higher is the totality. Okay, it's everything complete. Okay, like I said, level 7 to 8s, you don't have to say. Well, first of all, 7 to 8s, they don't say or express ideas so strongly like this. Okay, this is very well expressed. And 7 to 8s, you don't use the same language, and that's important. But also, 7 to 8s, we don't have to give 3 ideas like we did. As long as you give 2 strong ideas and long, well-explained ideas would be good. So this here is a very good example of 9 because of the way that it's organized. Strong beginning, explanation and comparison is very strong. And the use of language, lots of modals, could, may, might. Those modals are important for this question. And comparative language, okay? Comparing and contrasting. This one is like this, whereas yours, while yours. Very good comparison and contrasting, okay? So it is speaking, and the last part that we need to secure level 9 or higher is flow and intonation. And 7 to 9 flow and intonation, you should be able to speak this answer in 1 minute for 9s or higher. And 7 to 8s, again, just provided a complete response. Okay. So intonation, okay, clearly, okay. And for that, everyone, we should try to focus on sounding as native as we can, even with our stress and pitch of the sentence, okay? So I'm going to read this here and try to follow along, everyone, to my flow and intonation. Okay. If I had to persuade my coworker that the full-length locker could be better than the compact locker, I'd make some convincing points. Firstly, I think this locker could be more convenient because it is longer and has hooks. So this will make it easier for you to keep all your work clothes, lunch, and other belongings. While in the compact locker, all your things could be cramped. Secondly, I think this locker is more modern because it has a number lock. And this will make it easier for you to easily access the locker. Whereas with the compact locker, you'd have to get your own lock, and this could be more expensive to get a good secure lock. Last but not least, I think this locker could be more suitable because it has a longer mirror. So this would make it easier for you to always look presentable, whether it be at your workplace or when you're heading home. Okay, very good. So you see, I said that in under a minute. And I said it with really good flow and intonation. I hope you were able to follow along, everyone. We want to practice, everyone. How can we get to this level? Well, first it's about reading and understanding, okay? Firstly, we need to read and understand how we developed this answer with our structure, with our comparing and contrasting. Very good way for, we need to read and understand that. Secondly, we need to read and understand how the ideas were expressed, the language used, the comparative language, okay, the contrasting language. How did we do that? We need to read and understand that, okay? Then after that, everyone, we need to read and speak this answer in 1 minute. Can you read it in 1 minute? Level 9s for sure can. 7 to 8s, well, we could struggle along there. You do have good readings, 7 to 8s. But the more that we read and speak it in 1 minute, the more that we can develop our flow and intonation. And that's what we want to do, okay? So let's read and speak the answer in 1 minute. And for that, everyone, I am going to be leaving a link in the description box to our sample question, okay? And then you can practice reading it and speaking it in 1 minute. Okay. And then, well, the last practice that you can do is, can you speak that answer in 1 minute from your own knowledge without reading it? Can you do that? From your knowledge, not memory. Big difference. Knowledge, we keep it easily. So you should read it. You should read it until you can speak it. And by doing that, everyone, you'll really develop your comparing and contrasting language. Okay? Which is very important for part 5. And also, everyone, let's not forget about CELPIP Library. CELPIP Library has over 50 examples of speaking part 5. And these examples will really help you boost your level, increase your level. Okay, everyone? So, with CELPIP code 79, again, that is discount code CELPIP79, you can get a 3-month subscription for only $10.99. That's a great deal, everyone, and I strongly recommend it. So don't forget, practice makes perfect.